I'm Dan Stepner, the Artistic Director of the Aston Magna Foundation, which means I'm responsible for the concert series during the summer and the musical outreach that the foundation sponsors. I've been the director for 20 years now, and the organization is about to celebrate next year its 40th anniversary. Our mission is really to deepen the appreciation of music of the past, and not only the music, but the cultural milieu and the political history surrounding its creation. Aston Magna was founded in 1972 by Albert Fuller, a harpsichordist active in New York, and Lee Ellman, a real estate man in New York who was very interested in early music.
In 1972, we finally decided to create the music festival. We had a number of criteria, and the person who really filled those criteria was Albert Fuller. He was a senior professor at Juilliard, and he had a great following among many musicians. He was very solid, and he inspired people. The two of us began to bring it forward, and we had the wonderful building at the bottom of the hill, and that became the nerve center of the foundation for a number of years.
Aston Magna in the past has been the sponsor of a number of academies, which are the gatherings of scholars and musicians, all surrounding a particular theme each year. These academies were generously funded by the National Endowment for the Humanities. Raymond Erickson, who was a musicologist and a very active keyboard player, was very active in directing the academies, wonderful, energetic scholar. We're filming this right now at Brandeis University, which has collaborated with Aston Magna for the last couple of years in concerts and workshops.
The climax of the movement for me is bar 25, where everybody has forte, quarter notes with slashes on them. I think those could be really gathered, held a little bit. Many of our participants are graduates of the Indiana University Early Music Program and the Juilliard program. And it's wonderful to be able to work with these young professionals who are just getting started and help them to find their own voices and to stretch themselves in a way.
Dan had been doing workshops on Bach and the violin for several years at Brandeis, and he got the idea in the summer of 2010 to do a first workshop encompassing oboe and clarinet period instruments, and that actually went quite well. Steve Hammer and I collaborated and brought in several players on both Baroque and classical instruments, and in my case some modern clarinet players came. Several of them got very good very quickly, so that was also very exciting for them. It just opened up a whole new world.
The reason I think the workshop is good is that it, even as a professional, you don't really have a chance to really sort of get into the details as thoroughly as when you're in a workshop where you can really pull apart some music and sort of in a way go back to being a student.
As a scholar, I'm deeply invested in learning how music was made from the ground up in the 18th century. We've actually gotten to look at and play and touch and handle these original 18th century instruments. What an experience. You never get that.
It was actually in the mid-90s that an American musicologist, Pamela Poulin, found a program where Anton Stadler performed the Clarinet Concerto by Mozart in Riga. It was very exciting for me to take that engraving and base an instrument on the material provided in the program. There was actual depiction of his instrument and a description of it. The instrument I'm holding, it is basically a regular clarinet of the period, down to where my hand is. But then instead of a regular bell, the tube extends in order to play more low notes than a normal clarinet, and ends up in a sort of what we call a d'amore style bell, the round bell, similar to that on an oboe d'amore, which makes a sort of a little bit more hollow sound at the bottom, I guess. It's hauntingly beautiful instead of strident and direct.
Trying to find the space in the middle between what you feel and what you know and merge those two things is really what my being here is all about. And I probably would guess for everyone else too.
There was always the feeling at Aston Magna that would take the best part of you. You could work very hard, everyone was very collegial and very encouraging, and you were stretching yourself. You were playing better at the end than you ever dreamed was possible.